Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us here on this Wednesday night, July 7th. It is time for The Piano Man, featuring classical piano and fresh puns performed live. And of course, who else can do this but none other than Mr. David Benjamin?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm going to pause my YouTube feed here. I'm going to see how much of the chat I can actually keep up with. I've discovered in doing these shows, it's a little bit difficult because so much happens while I'm playing stuff or while whichever musician is playing stuff, which is just rude, if you ask me. I mean, never mind the fact that I'm probably one of the biggest offenders when it comes to making snide remarks while somebody's in the middle of doing something. So, tonight... This show, kind of inspired by Hunter. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but just kind of toss that out there. Toss him a bone. Julie, there's your dog pun. I'll see if I can come up with a better one, though. That was pretty terrible. But, I was trying to figure out what I might do for my next show and started playing or looking at some pieces by Edvard Grieg. Who's a Norwegian composer, late 19th century. I'm actually actively composing around the time that this piano that I'm sitting in front of was built. And probably Norway's best known composer. He's kind of national hero status composer over in Norway. And I started, playing through some of his pieces, and I was like, oh my gosh, I used to play some of these when I was learning how to play piano. It's been years and years and years since I played them, and I'm picking these up, 2 days ago. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to put together a program of shorter kind of character pieces. They're thematic. I'll go over each one, but this is part of what I know about it a little bit as I get to them. And apparently there was a super chat because I heard a cha-ching. And that's from Julie. That's kind of rough. Yeah, when I get going too much on puns, though, people think I'm barking mad. So I have to... So, anyhow, and I don't know if the Pierces are watching. Nicole Pierce had a couple of requests, which I will play if they're watching, and if not, then I'll probably have Amanda wave her arms like she just don't care to get my attention if the Pierces are on, because my iPad's over there and I can't see the chat, really. But anyhow, so I've put together a program of music by Edvard Grieg. Mike is here, apparently. Hi, Mike. And I know I saw Scott Gilbert. Hey, Scott. And I saw my mom, Corey. Hi, Corey. Mom. Sorry. Get going on first names. And anyhow, who else was in the chat? Hi, Amanda. Hi, Emily. Thanks so much for joining. I'm kind of all over the place because the dog was, speaking of barking mad, she was barking her head off half the night, so I was awake till the wee hours of the morning dealing with her. Anyhow, okay, so rest of the program. So we've got some Grieg, and then I've paired that with an American composer by the name of Edward MacDowell. He's not nearly as well known today as he was during his lifetime. He was also late 19th century. I think he died in 1908, and Grieg died in like 1907 or something, so they're pretty much same time period that they were actively composing. And as you'll hear, Edward MacDowell, I think, was a much better pianist than Edvard Grieg was. MacDowell was really a top-notch virtuoso. I think Grieg was very, very good, but I don't know if he was, that upper echelon virtuoso level that MacDowell was. But very, very different character pieces between the two composers. Kind of an interesting comparison. So, to start the program, let's see, if Nicole is watching, since she was the one who put in the request, I might wait a little bit, see if she comes on. I'll start off with some Grieg. These are his Opus 12 lyric pieces. He wrote, I think, like 60-something sets of pieces where the entire set was called lyric pieces. Each individual piece, most of them do have actual titles. Opus 12 was the first set of these pieces that he published. As with all opus numbers, they're assigned to a set of works when they're published. They're assigned by the publisher usually, just how occasionally you get duplicate opus numbers. Two different publishers did it. And so these were published relatively early in Grieg's lifetime. The other couple that I'm going to play were published much later. They're opus 57. So a much later period of his life, and kind of an interesting comparison. So this first one is called Arietta. This is absolutely one that I was playing when I was learning how to play piano. Actually, I think that's true of all of these. The Opus 12 are relatively easy, so they're fairly common for newer pianists to play these. So without further ado, because I've yammered on long enough, here is Arietta in E-flat major, Opus 12, number 1 by Grieg. And that is probably the loudest, wildest, most raucous applause you will ever hear for that piece of music. This is, these are all good examples of pieces of music that are considered salon pieces, intended for small audience, usually in a private room, at somebody's house typically. These are not typically concert pieces. They were never intended as such, but they're all the more delightful for that. The second piece that I have for you guys is also, actually the first several are out of that Opus 12 set. It is a waltz. There we go. Waltz in A minor, and it's kind of a fun little piece. So I will play that right now. Okay, heck, these are all so short. I'm just going to leave it on this camera for the moment. I kind of like the ending of that piece. And then this. It's almost like Grieg was like, "Oh yeah, this is supposed to be minor. Oops, let me fix that," without changing anything else. Yeah, kind of a fun, quirky little piece, and something that those of you who are musically trained in the audience, you guys might notice a lot of these pieces are ternary in form, T-E-R-N-E-R-Y, something like that, meaning they're in three parts. So that one is actually a great example. The transitions are pretty abrupt. Where this, that's one part, and then this little bit is the second part, and then the third part the first one comes back. So it's pretty common for these types of pieces, shorter, character pieces, salon pieces. That's a very, very typical thing. To have an opening section, thematic section, a contrasting bit, and then a return to the opening. Usually when the opening comes back, it's a little bit different, it's modified a bit, so it's not typically an exact repeat of the opening. See, this next one, Opus 12, number 3. Check the chat here. Amanda hasn't been waving her hands at me, so I'm probably not missing anything amazing. Oh, Nicole's here. Hi, Nicole. And Jeremy and Hunter. And who else is here? Dari and Kathy B and Serona. Hey, Serona. Yay. Okay, that's all I see on my little bit I can actually see on here right now. So I'm going to switch gears then, since Nicole's here. And Nicole, you had requested actually 3 pieces, I think, but unfortunately one of them was not an easily downloadable file. I was able to find sheet music for the other couple. Liz on Top of the World from Pride and Prejudice, and then the theme from Love Actually. And this first one, Liz on Top of the World, is going to be kind of interesting because the first couple days I was playing it wrong. And I discovered that this morning. So I think I got it. Should be okay. Should be. So this is from Pride and Prejudice, Liz on Top of the World, which I haven't actually seen Pride and Prejudice. I have seen Love Actually. Yeah, Amanda just gave me this look. What? Look, she can't believe it. Oh, I mean, it's blanking. Jane Austen? Yeah. Okay, Amanda's looking very relieved now. At least I know that much. But Jane didn't make too much of a big deal out of herself while she was alive, because she wasn't Jane Ostentatious. Okay, that was good. And I'm sitting here laughing. I'm the only one in the room who's laughing here, which is pretty normal. All right, without further ado, Liz on Top of the World by Dario Marianelli, who I'm assuming was the film composer for Pride and Prejudice. That really is a lovely piece of music. Thank you, Nicole, for sending in that suggestion. I actually really like that. In case you're wondering what I did wrong with that, which what I discovered this morning, the way written music, sheet music works, if you don't know, is you've got the lines of the staff, which you've probably all seen at some point or other, and then there's typically what's called a key signature. If there's nothing there, it's in C major, which is that key. And then depending on whether there's sharp symbols written in, which means instead of playing the white note, you play the next black one up, or flat symbols written in, meaning again, instead of a white key here, you play the next black one down. Depending on which symbols are written in there, that tells you what key the piece is in. So in this case, in the key signature of this sheet music, there is a B flat written in and an E flat, which means it is in B flat major, starting on this black key here. Nope, I'm wrong. The heck key is that? Okay, this is embarrassing. Oh no, I'm right. Music theory, it's been a while. Anyhow, it's in B flat major. Amanda's giving me this look like, what in the world are you talking about? I confused myself is what happened. So there's two flats written in, which tell me that as I'm playing this piece, instead of playing the white key here, I'm supposed to play the black key, and then same thing up here, I'm supposed to play the black key. I thought that that was also the case with this note. I was supposed to be playing that one instead, which greatly changes the sound of the piece. It takes this passage from to this. Kind of changes a lot of things. And yeah, I discovered this morning that there was no A flat in there. It was just A. Anyhow, probably more information than you all wanted to know. But now you know a little bit about reading music. And that's something I've done playing. There's a waltz by Brahms I was playing once, and I got about halfway through and wondered why it sounded weird, and discovered I was playing it in B minor instead of B flat major. Makes a little bit of a difference. And the second request that Nicole sent in is the Glasgow Love theme from Love Actually. And this one I did correctly read the key signature, so we should be good. That's another very pretty piece of music. And again, thank you, Nicole, so much for sending those suggestions in. It's not anything I would have found on my own. So really appreciate that. And if anybody else has suggestions or requests, I should say, that they would like to send in, you can email me, and I'm sure my lovely assistant Amanda will put it in the chat if she hasn't already, at david.benjamin150@gmail.com. That's one of my email addresses. And just put pun-anoman, so pun-anoman request in the subject lines. That way my email account will flag it, and it'll be easier for me to see it amongst all the spam that is usually what shows up in that account. And I hear another super chat, another cha-ching. Oh, thank you, Emily. She says, "You are amazing," and we have a dancing banana, which is what I'm calling that now. Kidding, it's the Avoparasato. I just got another weird look from the peanut gallery on the couch over there. That's kind of my goal, actually, to see how many weird looks I can collect throughout the night. Amanda's doing this. Oh, she's shunning me now. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Maybe I'll just have to sleep downstairs, which honestly would be a blessing because it's a lot cooler downstairs than it is upstairs right now. And I hear another super chat. This one from Nicole. Thank you so much. Lots of hearts and heart-faced emojis. Just lovely. Thank you so much. You're absolutely welcome, Nicole. And any other requests you have, feel free to send them in. If I can play it, I'll play it. And if I can't, I might try anyway. We'll see. So, back to our originally scheduled programming. Back to Grieg here. So the next couple of pieces, again, we're back to these Opus 12. I'm playing two more out of this opus. This one is called Watchman's Song. It was inspired by Shakespeare's Macbeth. Beyond that, I don't really know what exactly the inspiration was here, but it's kind of a cool little piece. So, Watchman's Song by Grieg after Shakespeare's Macbeth. And I just saw another super chat from Dari. Thank you so much, Dari. And cool with the Avoparasato, which maybe it's, I don't know. It says cool. Maybe it's an Avoparasato on ice. Pretty interesting, actually. Iced Avoparasato. Somebody should come up with a drink for that. There you have it. Watchman Song, Opus 12, number 3 by Grieg. In fact, these pieces are so over the top as to be egregious. Egregious? The pronunciation doesn't really work. Worth a try. As are most poems, which is why I tried them. And then, some of them fall a little bit flat, but oh well, what are you going to do? The last piece, not the last piece of the set from Opus 12, but the last one I'm going to play tonight is called Elves Dance or Elfin Dance. And it's kind of a fun, sprightly little piece. It's inspired by Germanic, Nordic folklore, elves and fairies and sprites and that sort of thing. There's actually quite a lot of character music written using that as inspiration. Mendelssohn's Midsummer Night's Dream incidental music is a great example of that, the overture especially. So anyhow, Elves Dance by Grieg, Opus 12, number 4. That is a fun little piece. That rounds out the set of Opus 12. There's one other piece by Grieg I wanted to share with you tonight. This one is, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. It's Gade. I looked him up today because I had no idea what the title of this piece meant, and that is the title. Gade, I had no idea. Maybe it's Jade. Ooh. Anyhow, he was apparently a very, very well-known Norwegian musician, conductor, I think violinist. So during that turn of the 20th century time period, late 19th century, early 20th century time period, he was very well-known. So given that the piece is titled with his name, I would imagine Grieg wrote it as some sort of maybe a tribute to him. There's nothing here about it being dedicated to him. But there's certainly an association there. And what you'll notice, this piece is a much later piece from Grieg's lifetime. This is Opus 57. The other pieces were Opus 12. So I think the other pieces were published in the 1860s, and this one dates from, I believe, 1896 or thereabouts. This piano, incidentally, was about 10 years old when this piece was written, maybe 9 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. Amanda just alerted me to the fact that I have a Venmo from Jeremy. Thank you so much, Jeremy. And it was awesome meeting you at the live family Vicnic. I'm going to call it Vicnic now, because we're putting V's on everything these days. Not my t-shirts, though. It's not a V-neck yet.
He said it's for both of our shows, so he'll get a raffle ticket.
Oh, okay. So Amanda says, Jeremy, that since you said this was for both of our shows, you will get a raffle ticket as well. What it's a raffle for, I don't know. We'll find out when it happens. I'm repeating what Amanda is telling me right now because I don't know what this raffle thing is all about. The wheel's rigged. That's all I know. So, Opus 57, number 2. This is, I'm going to go with God. I don't know, maybe it's called God. Who knows? They are Norwegian. Lyric piece by Edvard Grieg. there you have it. A much later piece by Grieg. I think it's in feeling a bit more in line with what I'm about to play, getting into Edward McDowell here in a minute. See if there's anything in the chat. Lots of clapping. Thank you, guys. Unfortunately, I'm noticing as I do these shows that when I try and keep up with the chat, that's basically what I see, because, yeah, just lots of claps. So, appreciate it. I'm very glad you guys are all here. So this next piece, actually the next several, are all by Edward McDowell. And if you missed the very beginning of the show, like Grieg, McDowell was a late 19th century composer. McDowell was American, which you don't often hear about Romantic period American composers. But McDowell was pretty darn well known in his lifetime. If you ever have 40 minutes or so, look up his Piano Concerto No. 2. I'm sure that there's recordings of it on YouTube. It is an absolutely incredible piece of music. It's probably, next to one of the pieces I'm going to play tonight, probably his most famous piece. Just phenomenal. And the guy was just an unbelievable pianist. So some of these pieces, like this one I'm about to play, this is not one I've played before, 2 days ago. I had never looked at it. And what attracted me to it was the title, because Amanda and I think Dari and a few other people have been talking about doing like a haunted music Polly's show or something like that. Polly's Online Haunted Variety Show.
And the original was music show.
Okay, so Polly's Online Haunted Music Show. Poems, I think, was where it came from. Trying to come up with something that fit the acronym. Anyhow, the title of this piece is A Haunted House. This is from, this is kind of where Hunter's inspiration came in. Hunter, I don't know if you were on at the very beginning, but I mentioned kind of in passing that you had inspired a lot of my selections tonight with your Fireside Tales. Well, this piece, this Haunted House piece, is out of a set of pieces by McDowell literally called Fireside Tales. And so this is what started me on that kind of path to, well, hey, maybe it'd be fun to do a program of shorter character pieces. This one in particular, I looked at it, thought, ooh, this one's kind of cool. So I wanted to share it with everybody. This, like the piece I just played, was, I believe, published first in the 1890s. And it's Opus 61. Edward McDowell only lived to the age of 47. There's some debate as to what his cause of death was. Certainly wasn't helped by the fact that he was run over by a horse-drawn carriage towards the end of his life. That'll kind of do it. But he had some mental issues as well that became apparent when he got into his 40s. It was very, very unfortunate. So this was, I think he only had one or two opuses after this one. So this is definitely towards the end of his life. And I think A Haunted House is a very fitting title, as you'll hear in a moment. don't know about you guys, but I really want to visit whatever house inspired that. It was something that was very true of McDowell, is that he was very inspired by his surroundings. In fact, I think when he was in his 30s, maybe early 40s, he and his wife literally bought the farm. They bought a farm, I think it was in New Hampshire, and he embarked upon quite the compositional. I'm looking for an adjective here and I just don't have one, so I'm just going to leave that alone and I'm going to start that sentence over. He turned out a pretty amazing number of compositions, big pieces, piano sonatas, short pieces like the one I'm about to play. And the story behind this one, he was very inspired by the beauty of the surroundings. New Hampshire is a gorgeous part of the country. This piece was one that actually apparently the story goes that his wife found it crumpled up in or near the trash can. It was McDowell's habit when he was at his summer retreat, this ranch house that they bought, to just dash off short little tunes in the morning, which he would usually end up throwing away. It wasn't anything, probably just a mental exercise, just for fun. But it wasn't anything that he was interested in turning into finished pieces, so he would just toss them. Well, apparently his wife found this particular one and said, "Oh, no, 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 no. This needs to be a finished composition." And to date, it is probably his best known piece for really any instrumentation. It's one of his simplest, and it's just a absolutely gorgeous one. It's just exquisitely perfect in its poeticness. It is called "To a Wild Rose." And Amanda just threw her fist up in the air, which I'm assuming she means she likes it. Hopefully it doesn't mean she hates it, because if she does, tough. Okay, so more to the story. Amanda says that he was going to throw it in the fire, and his wife saved it, probably making a leaping baseball-style catch in front of the fireplace. Maybe not. Anyhow, "To a Wild Rose" by Edward McDowell. like I said, just exquisite. There is it's kind of a piece similar in feeling by Chopin, also in A major, which is this key, at one of his preludes. Also one of the shortest classical compositions ever written. I mean, the piece takes like 30 seconds to play. It's really, really short. And it's the same kind of feeling as To a Wild Rose. Just, you can't imagine it being a longer piece of music. It's so perfect the way it is. Now, this next one, I'm going to attempt this. I've been going back and forth a little bit. I'm probably going to play it a little bit under tempo because I had literally not really looked at this piece at all before a couple days ago. This is called Will o' the Wisp. It's out of the same Woodland Sketches opus as the previous piece. And again, this is one of MacDowell's better known pieces. I mean, really all the Woodland Sketches, all the pieces in that set are pretty famous compositions. So this is Will o' the Wisp, and I'm noticing something kind of odd. A lot of my selections tonight are either in A major or they're in F sharp minor, and the only difference between the two keys is the note you start on versus... I don't quite know how that worked out that way, but one of those odd little things, I suppose. Not that any of you care. Anyhow, Will o' the Wisp by MacDowell. Kind of fun, sprightly little one. It's, to me, a bit reminiscent of the earlier piece, The Elves Dance by Grieg. Very similar feel between the two compositions, so you can see why I programmed them. And then I think the last, we're getting up towards the hour here. I think the last one I'm going to play out of, it is. Out of the set by MacDowell. I'm just kind of flipping through just to make sure I didn't forget anything. This is New England Idols IDYLLS, not IDOLS. He, again, number of shorter character pieces inspired by his surroundings. This one is entitled An Old Garden. And there is a poem that goes along with it. Unfortunately, it is not credited in this sheet music in front of me, so I don't know who actually wrote this poem. But it goes, sweet alyssum, moss-grown stair, rose of roses, larkspur fair, all old posies, tokens rare of love undying, linger there. This is the inspiration for this piece entitled An Old Garden. As I sit here, I realized I didn't have my headphones in. So, Craig, I don't know if you wanted to run. I know you said we only have a couple of promo slides, but if you want to pop those on. Oh, and like the video. Amanda's sitting there doing this at me, and
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And what a great show tonight. You always do such a fantastic job with sharing your talent with us, playing some beautiful music, and sharing your insight as well. So thank you very much. We definitely appreciate that a lot.
thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad everybody got here watching and sharing. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, well, coming up on the Vaudacity Network, let's see. There it is. We've got Lovecast tomorrow night with Hunter. It's Lovecast 64 live acoustic originals and covers with our very own Sexy Jesus. It's Hunter Ackerman along with his trusty sidekick Wolfgang the Mothhammer. That's tomorrow night starting at 6 p.m. here on the Vaudacity Network. And then coming up on Friday, if you want to laugh, we got the show for you. The Suggestion Box, live improv comedy from amazing comedians. If you don't laugh, something's wrong, seriously, because they are funny. What they do and how they play is hilarious. Please join us. That's Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here again on the Vaudacity Network. It's a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. And then coming up on Monday, starting at 7:30, back to her normal time, is Amanda on Demanda, where she sings your requests. You can request a song at www.vaudacity.online. Again, that's www.vaudacity.online. And this coming Monday, it's Barbra Streisand night. So please get in your requests for songs from Barbra Streisand. I know I put in at least one, so it's your turn to now do the same. www.vaudacity.online for Amanda on Demand requests. That's Monday starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. And that's what's coming up right now on Vaudacity. There's a lot more to come as well. So please go ahead and hit the like button, and importantly, hit the subscribe and the bell. The subscribe button will always keep you up to date, as well as that bell, because it will tell you when we have some new shows and new things on our network. Let's get back to Mr. David Benjamin, the Panano Man.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thank you for the great promo, especially for my wife's upcoming show, because, I mean, duh. If you haven't watched it, definitely tune in. And if you like what you saw tonight, remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification button, so that way you get notifications when, we decide 2 days before to do a show, because sometimes it's a surprise even for us. I'm going to do one more piece. This is just a quick little encore, also a short piece. This one is by Franz Liszt. This piece sort of exemplifies why pianos have a middle pedal. It's not, as Victor Borge once said, there to separate the other two. It's not also for pianists who have 3 feet. No, the middle pedal, so the way these pedals work on a piano is the right hand one is used by far the most frequently, and what that does is when you hit a note and you hold that pedal down, it sustains that pitch. So you don't have to hold the key down. It keeps the damper that stops the string from vibrating, it keeps that lifted up so the note continues on. On modern grands, what a middle pedal does is you hit a key, you push down the middle pedal, and it holds up just the damper for the one key. On older grands like the one I'm playing tonight, the middle pedal lifts up all the dampers, but on the lower half of the keyboard, so on the lowest notes. And as it happens for this particular piece, I probably still won't really use it, although I could. It's used to sustain this real low pitch, so I can do this, push down the middle pedal, and it's not sustaining any of the higher pitches. So it's used to kind of cleanly sustain those low notes. In the time period that Liszt was composing, this is how the middle pedal would have worked. I'm not sure when it switched over to the modern version where you can hold any note down on the entire keyboard and you push the middle pedal down, it holds up just the one damper. It's obviously kind of a cool function, if not super useful in most cases. And because I use, I don't know if you guys can see when I switch my camera view over to, no, you can't really. I've got a set of Bluetooth pedals on the floor over here, which is what I use to turn pages. So my left foot is pretty occupied with that. If I was playing off a regular book, I could have my left foot over on the second of the 2 piano pedals down here. But anyhow, again, probably more information than most of you cared about. But this is Constellation number 3 in D flat major by Franz Liszt, and I'm in good company. Vladimir Horowitz, famous concert pianist, used this as an encore all the time. It's a very pretty piece. there you have it. Fun little surprise piece by Liszt. One of my favorites. And surprised myself, too, because I hadn't planned on playing that tonight, so it's been a while since I last looked at it. It's always a fun one to bring out. So I think that's about it, guys. We're a little bit past our hour. Thanks so much for sticking around. And here a super chat, which looks like from my mother. Thank you so much, Mom. What a lovely evening of music, David. Thank you. And once again, the proof's in the pudding.
And also Christy Davila.
It's offering for me to buy my own super chat. I still don't know what that means. And unfortunately, it looks like on my chat here on my iPad, the one from Christy has disappeared because I don't see it.
It's right under your mouth.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Christy. And it's a dancing lemon. I'm sorry. I was preoccupied with the eyelashes and trying to figure out what was going on there with the eyelashes. Anyhow, that's about it for the show tonight. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Enjoyed playing for everybody. And, doing these seems like once every 3-4 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we'll see you again soon. Good night.